Good evening. Come, we've been expecting you. Are you comfortable? Prepare to tuck yourself into a personal experience none would wish to have without a shadow of a doubt. Oh, and don't forget to grab your popcorn.
So, I was pretty young at the time. I want to say, like, I don't know, maybe 12 or 11. It might have been a school night. I'm not sure. I just know that it was like a difficult sleep for me. I've always had trouble sleeping since I could remember. Like, I've only thing that I remember is having frequent nightmares or waking up in the middle of the night with sleep paralysis. And it got to the point where I would kind of like sense that it was gonna happen hours leading up to going to sleep. Like like you know how you can smell the pavement, like wet pavement before it's gonna rain or thunder. I would just get this feeling that like I'm gonna get sleep paralysis tonight. Like it's just gonna happen because I would have nightmares so often, or I would go to sleep really quickly, or I don't know. I don't know what brought out sleep paralysis. I just know that if I didn't go to sleep like absolutely out like a light side, like if I tried lulling myself to sleep, I would end up having sleep paralysis in some way. But it had been going on for so long that I knew it was gonna happen that I tried like creating ways to trick myself out of it, or like little hacks that would help me. And in this scenario, I like I had a flashlight, right? It was like a red cheap flashlight. I can't remember if somebody bought it for me or if I bought it. I just remember that I had put it underneath my pillow. And my thing was that if I get sleep paralysis, I will just like pull it out, or I'll turn it on and it'll wake me up. And this kind of worked, but for the most part, horribly backfired on me. Um, because when you have sleep paralysis, you get like the scary demon, the scary black figure in your room, and it's terrible. For me, it had developed to a stage where I would feel things like pulling my legs or tucking me into bed, like on the cover. Like they were just mysterious forces causing me trouble. And it didn't help that like every place we went to was in some way haunted or whatever. Like it just seemed to like follow us. Um, anyways, so this time I had, you know, gone to bed. Sure enough, it happened. I woke up in like this petrified state with my heart going like so fast. I was afraid that I was like gonna, I don't know, not get a heart attack. I just felt like my chest was gonna strain. Like I felt like my heart was beating up against my ribs or something. It felt horrible. Like you ever go running and then you come back and you sit down to do something and you're like hyper aware of the blood and the tendons and the muscles of your leg because the blood is just rushing back and forth within it so much. Imagine that, but like a really heavy weight on your chest, and you can't breathe that well either. Well, this happened, and I was like, "Oh my god, I hate this." And what I would usually do, I would try to like breathe really like fast, or like control my breathing in a way to where like I would be able to flick my eyes open after a while, like just that inches of control, little by little, and then I would slowly be able to like move my hands or like jerk a shoulder or kick a foot, and that would, jumpstart me to the point where I would be able to shake it off. Well, this is what happened that time. I was able to like breathe, in and out, really like controlled, and then really fast till I kind of got myself out of that state. And but I was still like bone tired because when you have like persistent nightmares and persistent sleep paralysis, your sleep is trash. You're not getting good sleep because your REM cycle keeps getting interrupted. And I was just so tired because of this, and I was like, okay, I'm going to put this light on that I pulled it out from underneath my pillow because I was keeping it underneath my pillow. Probably not the best place to keep a flashlight, like that wasn't doing me any help in terms of sleeping well. My pillow was not that soft because of it. Anyways, I turned it on and I had it I believe it was, yeah, it was like face towards the wall, or like, but also kind of towards me in a way that, like, I propped it up between the railings. I had, at this point, I was like a little, like a bunk type of bed. It was metal framed, and I propped it up between that and the mattress and the wall, because my bed was right against the wall. And so it was just like this flashlight in my face. And for some reason, in like my kind of, half-hearted, daisy attempt, I was like, okay, this is gonna make sure that, like, when I get in sleep paralysis, I'll be awake, because I'll know that this light is on, and it'll wake me up fully out of the sleep paralysis if I get into it, and then I won't have to see any horrible, horrific things or anything, because the light's gonna be on, so it's not gonna be dark enough to play tricks on my eyes and make me see things. Like, I'll be able to see things fully because my light will be there illuminating it, and I'll be able to get out of it. Like, I just would logic my way out of it in my mind, because that's just how, I figured things as a kid. I was like, oh, I'm really gonna show it to the sleep paralysis this time. So anyways, I go back to sleep anyways, but I'm kind of fighting it because I don't really want to go to bed, like I don't want it to get into it. So that was kind of playing into the, I was going to set myself up for sleep paralysis that way, because I didn't want to go back to sleep, but I also did, and it was maybe that conflict that helped this happen. So instead of going to sleep, I just went straight back into a sleep paralysis, and I was like, well, great, what do I do now? And I was just stuck there for a while, and then because I just jumped straight back into it, I didn't feel afraid. And it wasn't until like I kind of heard this buzzing and this humming, which will happen sometimes when you're in sleep paralysis. You get like weird audio in the same way that you would get weird visions, so it was, I would kind of describe it as like, I want to say it might have been just from like my racing heart, that like really heavy buzzing or that really heavy beating, but it was more like, I want to say static, or like a bee, or maybe like a live wire type of, like, like the zzz going on. So I started hearing that, and then I started feeling really uneasy and really uncomfortable. And whereas first, when it, like, I kind of, when I jumped back into it, it was like, oh, okay, I have sleep paralysis. It's just, oh, it's getting kind of harder for me to move. My limbs feel very heavy, and all that sucks. But then it like develops as like this tempo of like, just tight air, like very tight staticky air, and my heart was beating fast, even though I felt kind of not that wary at that point, but it was building. It was just, it was just building up and building up, and it got to the point where I really couldn't move. Like, I was just petrified at this point, and I was like, this sucks, but at least I have my light on. Backfired horribly immediately, because the way my light was, it was kind of like, I mean, you know how hand puppets work, right? If you, like, the shadows will cast things or whatever onto the wall. Like, because the light was faced at me, the light that was on the wall was like showing a shadow of me laying down, kind of. Does that make sense? Like, it was like I could see my shadow on the wall, and I could see like the pillow of me on the wall, and I could see my shoulder on the wall. So I was aware of that. And then like suddenly I feel like this like tapping on my shoulder, right? And I was looking, my eyes were not focused on the wall. My eyes were focused on like kind of like the pillow or the railing, because I was just, waiting for sleep to eventually just hit me, But I felt like this drumming, you know what I mean? Like when someone plays the piano, they'll just go like the diddling, diddling type of thing. But I felt that on my shoulder, and I was like, God, please, not me, not tonight. It's just sleep paralysis. There's nothing there. It's just sleep paralysis really trying to get to me, whatever. And I wanted to reassure myself of this fact that, like, it's not real. It's not really there. There's nothing bothering you. So I turned my eyes finally, and my eyes are moving sluggishly now because I'm losing more control. I'm getting more kind of petrified-y of the sleep paralysis. But I turned my eyes to where the shadow on the wall of myself is, and I see this really long fingered, long, huge ass hand from like a shadow there over on my shoulder, and it like continues to do that drumming on my shoulder. And like what I was feeling immensely in my head from that thing, I had pictured like a normal sized hand, but from the shadow it was just like the tips of its fingers that were touching me. And I don't remember how the rest of that like ended for me. Like I don't remember anything past that moment except a sharp feeling of fear, and then like I woke up the next day. Like that's it. Like I want to say there's some like thing where I was like, "Oh, and then I woke up and I turned around and it was just nothing," but like I just blacked out after that. So, I mean, that's my experience.
Is a night terror the work of a highly creative mind? Or have our eyes not betrayed us and there truly are more than we can fathom? Until next time.